Well, good morning. One of the problems that I confront as often as the case is that Razor and Jody and everybody's given my speech, so I guess I can talk about other things. But I want to begin by acknowledging the presence of my colleague on City Council, Councillor Michelle Holland, who's here this morning. Come on up, Michelle. Michelle was put in place to advocate, because, you know, City Council, there's 45 people, there's a million issues to deal with, as you know, from just looking at what happens when we meet. And I felt that the innovation economy needed somebody to champion it, and to be sort of, as much as I'm trying to champion it, to be doing this each and every day. And also in particular to champion diversity, and in particular within that to champion making sure that women were better represented in an industry where they are already well represented, but it just didn't seem to be the case when you showed up at a lot of events. Now that confronted me with a challenge. How do I know when I show up to something like this morning there's going to be adequate gender representation here? So I've just adopted the approach, I'll come up the elevator, come in the room, look around, and if things don't look good, I'll just leave. And I didn't have to do that this morning, because as was pointed out, there's a good representation of the diversity that is Toronto. You know, this is a city where we really pride ourselves on all the different festivals we have. Today we'll be launching at Nathan Phillips Square at lunchtime the Caribbean Carnival, which is a huge celebration of Caribbean culture and music. And that's really about diversity. We had Pride a couple of weeks ago, and I was proud to march with the Prime Minister and the Premier, which I think is just an indication of how we live and what our values are here, and that's all about inclusion. And of course TIFF has been mentioned many times this morning, and it's all about our commitment to culture and to the arts and to film. And so you have to think to yourself, well, we don't have any event like that that really celebrates technology, and that really is a festival, if you can call it that, that celebrates our great accomplishment here and how important it is to us. And you know, when we talk about Toronto, and I'm so proud to be able to go around the world, and I want you to know I don't go around the world too much, but I have gone on trips where I've been asked to go to sell the film industry in Los Angeles and also in India. You know, they produce hundreds of feature films every year in India, and if we got 10 of those here, it would make a huge difference to our film industry. So that's what we go out and do on these business missions. But what I'm proud to talk about is a couple of things that are sort of evident in this room and evident so much in the technology business. The first is the diversity of the talent pool that exists here. Yes, the population is diverse, and I talk about that as a fact, and that we're working harder to achieve inclusiveness, which is actually more important than diversity in and of itself. But when I talk about the talent pool here, I'm able to talk about it in a way that is not requiring me to exaggerate. I can just talk about the depth of the talent pool. I was at a job fair at George Brown College for the VFX industry, who we're hosting tonight. We're hosting all the senior people from Los Angeles tonight at a dinner here in the city to say, come and do your FX work here in Toronto. But I'm able to talk to them about the incredible pool of talent we have here, and that's something to be proud of. But also able to talk about the fact that this is the financial and the innovation center of Canada. And I say that without any disrespect to Vancouver or Montreal or anywhere else, but the fact is we are unique, certainly as regards the United States, in that in the United States the financial capital is obviously on the East Coast, the innovation capital on the West Coast. Here we have the two in one place, as much as other places in Canada might not be thrilled about admitting that. And so it's time to showcase all of this. And one of the other things I've realized in traveling around and promoting Toronto, as Michelle has done as well, is that you have to bring people here to see it. They sort of know something about Toronto. They know more about our values than anything else and how we live together here as part of the Canadian family, but they don't know much about the city. They don't know about the strength of and the forward-looking nature of our banks, and that the fact we can partner our tech community with the banks will not only allow our tech community to flourish in the areas of fintech and others, but it will protect jobs here that are vitally important to us. It will protect jobs in the banking industry. It's one of the reasons that I have been an outspoken advocate of saying that Toronto should be the home to the disruptors. And as opposed to those who tell me all the time, I assure you, we should be afraid of people who are disruptive, or we should take steps to kind of limit them or to keep them at bay. No, what we should be doing is what we're trying to do here and what this whole Elevate conference is about, which is showcase those people, encourage them, make sure, those people, it's you, but encourage you to do more of what you're doing, to disrupt, and to do it in partnership with the established industries that are so important to our well-being here, because that is what is going to protect them in the end from, or protect is the wrong word, that is what is going to help them to adjust to the change that is inevitable in all of those industries without exception. And so the fact we have the banks and the telecoms and the life sciences companies, they are going to benefit from your work, and the more we can bring everybody closer together, the better. The other thing about Elevate that made me very happy was that we are seeing a collaboration inside the tech ecosystem here. It's frustrating for me sometimes, to be honest with you, to go around and try to encourage this ecosystem to grow and to prosper, but sometimes I don't know who to talk to, because there are a number of wonderful organizations. They're all great. Mars is great, and ElevateTO is great, and Move the Dial is great, and on the list could go. And finally, what I think you have here is a recognition, I think led by Razor and others, that together we've got to do something that says we're together, first of all, and that we are one, because we face competition that is formidable and we can't afford to be splintered. But together we're going to be stronger in terms of sending that message out about the talent pool here, about our embracing of disruption, and about our values. And I want to just finish on that note. We are drawing more and more people here because of the talent pool, because of the companies like Shopify and Wattpad, and I could go down the list. But I think that what we also have to do is make sure that we don't miss the opportunity when the people come here in September. And of course, it's going to be up to each and every one of you, not only to sort of reach out to each other, but to think of people outside of the city, outside the country, who can come here to be part of Elevate this fall. And it is short notice, but they'll come. And I think that we have to make sure they understand the one thing that they have an inkling of now, which is the values that we have at the core of how we live together here. Because I think in the end, if we can say to them, you have a great place to build a career, a great place to build a business, a commitment to disruption, you have the groups of head offices here where you can have them as our guinea pigs and test beds and things like that, and their commitment to trying to build up themselves. But you can also say that you will live here in a way that is, I think, sketching out a different narrative from what you see in the rest of the world, where we continue to have open arms and open hearts. This, I think, is going to be a fundamentally important opportunity to demonstrate that. And so I'm looking forward. I can tell you that Michelle Holland, Michael Thompson, our Economic Development Head, Mike Williams, who runs the department in our public service, we are committed to making this a success. We are partners with you in making sure that Elevate is something that starts to put us on the map. And the Film Festival does, the Caribbean Carnival does, Pride does. These are among the biggest of their kind in the world. And we're going to make sure that Elevate ends up in the same place, because the future success that you have as a group of entrepreneurs and smart people is fundamental to the future economic success of the city, and the economic success is fundamental to our ability to help people who are struggling in the city. The only way we can help make sure that that set of values stays alive that people admire around the world is if we're prosperous, so that we can then fairly apply some of that prosperity to making sure that we keep the city livable. So that's what I'm all about, and you're going to help with that, because that's what you're doing right now. So I wish everybody the best of luck with this. It's going to be a big success, and I'm looking forward to being there. Thanks very much. My day yesterday consisted of being in salsa on St. Clair, where they unsuccessfully coached me on salsa dancing, followed by the Taste of Lawrence, where they unsuccessfully coached me on indigenous dancing, followed by the Taste of Fusion up in Rexdale, where they unsuccessfully coached me on Caribbean dancing. They now assure me even I can't screw this up. Take pictures of the Elevate team. Oh no, I want you see, you've already changed the program. And you told me they would be on both. You would be on both sides, and now you're only on one side. They're trying to mess with me here, folks, to make sure I mess this up. Okay, here we go. We're gonna get the crowd. Okay, here we are. All right. Am I supposed to get myself
put yourself in it as well.
Okay. There we are.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Cool.
Now we got okay. What's happening now?
This way.
Oh, you're out of this one. Right?
You're right. Just you. Michelle. Okay. And the crowd. Come on in. Bring it in, Toronto. Let's go.
Can I tell you all this lesson? No.